be like Jesus, be unconventional, anger people. Because Jesus, in plain language, he pissed people off all the time. Like, that was it. Like, they hated him. That's why they were so eager to crucify him, because this guy, like, like, yo. In fact, if you look at the people that Jesus was healing, they were not Christian people. Like, he was out there doing everything religion was saying don't do. He wasn't looking after his own. He took this religion that was for the Jews and he took it to the Gentiles, which was everyone that wasn't Jewish. God, I want to shine inside a church building and I want to be a superstar there. And I should be outside. I should be outside and taking this love out to other people that need it. So we've got it all wrong, Fred. Like, we've got it all wrong. It's twisted, and you have no idea for everything that I say. And I said, it's okay. Nizoba so wrong.
As soon as people rid of their Dionysian, if I may call it that, their Dionysian way of thinking.
Fred is using words I've never heard of before. Dionysian. I'm like, I have no idea what that means.
I done probably made that. I said to someone else, I said, I've been bending English for so long, it's molded to my own thing. I probably made that one up. Probably doesn't exist. But in explaining defining what I mean by get rid of a Dionysian thought of self, the Dionysian thought of self makes people feel importance to others. And I've had to eliminate the importance on others, because that implies that you take upon a responsibility that's not yours. You take upon Jesus' job and you're just doing it on extra shift, and Jesus like, no, I've got it. Where people want to control out of love, and when that fails, they want to control out of hate.
Yeah.
And love and hate have one thing in common: they're both possessive. Because when you hate someone, you carry them with you, and that's why, as you said there, to highlight a bit more on what you said, is that you need to be able to love from a distance. To love, but you need to let go of those you love. You need to hate, but you need to let go of those and be like, I don't like that stuff you do. You good though?
Yeah.
And be over it. You don't like it, shut. You don't have to not like it and continue to not like it. Now you're hating that person, but you're being possessive towards that person, right? You're trying to possess them.
Yeah.
And that person is as what Christ puts out as Christ's body. The body per se is everyone that lives on this here earth. We are all as good as cells on one's body. If I was to count all the cells on my body, I'm sure the cell on my toe would not agree with the cell that's on my forehead. For some reason, you might feel like, the one the forehead gets to take selfies, we don't even get that. We don't get no shot. Yeah. But we all cells of the same body, and it's one thing that we are also getting taught during this time of COVID, where it was China's problem and everyone looked away. That's everyone's problem, and everyone's asking for help. But China reduced it.
How did you do it?
And you say, if everyone respected the body of Christ, which is the very earth that we step on, and respected everyone else as cells to one body, then it's easier for you to love the next person. And be like, you know what? As you said, you're doing what the hand does. So I shouldn't shun upon it. The hand's gonna go touch the dirtiest of corners. The hand's gonna go clean where the mouth should go. The hand's gonna go clean where the bums should go. So you gotta wipe it with your hand. And so you get to observe everyone and be like, okay, man, just know that you're being the hand right now. I think that's all one can do, is just mirror that and reflect it on someone to say, yeah, you're being a hand right now, man. You don't really gotta touch all the dirt. You can move up. You move up. You know, you can become better selves that are taken care of. Hands come back, clean your face. You know, they gotta take care of that. But your face doesn't have to go scrape every surface clean, or doesn't have to take you from A to B. It just has to present itself. So it's all about raising people to that higher state, to say, be the better selves. That gets all the shine.
You know, for me, I have a different point of view, in the sense that I can't expect the tendon at the back of my knee to want to be a better body part. It was designed to just be that. I could possibly use it as a tendon for the shoulder because something went wrong here, and then I need to take a piece of that to put it here. But it doesn't mean that part was made for this part. And there'll be some sort of a discomfort because it's in the wrong place for the longest time. I think for me, it's wanting to clarify who Jesus wants to be known as. And he wants to be known as a God of love. He says in his word that he is sitting up in the heavenlies and the earth is his footstool. What can we give him? Like, if he can just sit and cross his legs and put them on the earth, like, what is it that you can give me that's going to make me impressed? We can't impress him. That's what he says in his word. That's why he wants us. The short time that he lived, he's like, I showed you how to live on earth. I showed you how to be a nice person, how to be a pure person, how to be a hardworking person, because he worked. You know, he didn't live a luxurious life. He lived as the most basic human, almost on the verge of poverty, because he wanted to say this life is possible as a decent person without hurting or stealing from other people. You can live a fulfilling life and change the lives of others. And I want to clarify who Jesus is. I want to take him out to the people, and I want to say, here's Jesus, try him out. If you don't like this Jesus, it's okay, but just try. I've made you something to eat, taste it. If you don't like it, it's okay, but at least taste it. You know what I mean? Just taste it. And I feel like also a distinction on what you were saying, everything is not for everyone. If you're not a believer of Jesus, there are things you can never access because you don't believe in him. That's why we are called believers. So I cannot expect you to experience something I'm experiencing in my very close relationship with Jesus, and yet you're on the outside looking in. It's for the kids on this side of the fence, you know? And it just is what it is. But also, with that said, I should be able to say, oh, there's space for you as well if you do want to come over this side. There's space, you know? And come as you are, come as filthy as you are, or as broken as you are, or come even if you just don't know what you're looking for. Come inside, the gate's open, come check it out, see how you feel about it, and you know the door's open should you want to leave again. But I should love you so much that you don't want to leave again. Like, you should just be like, yo, I'm so loved up. And I think I always take it back to a romantic relationship. Friend, we work hard for romantic relationships. We work hard. You will know, if you are dating me, what I like to eat. You will know my favorite scent. You'll know my favorite color. You will know what I like to wear. You'll know my favorite song. And yet it seems to be a foreign concept when it comes to a relationship with Christ. You must know him. He knows you. Know him.
I'd say I already forget a lot. You know, when you even speak of relationships, hey, I forget my own birthday. Okay, I'm gonna be like, kind of when is it? Oh yeah, it's coming up. That's just who. Yeah, that's just who I am. But with that said, I have learned to be very impersonal with life in itself. Where
Okay.
you know, from the beginning, I was like, yeah, you know, our relationship with Jesus is different. You
Yeah.
yeah, you believe entirely in an embodiment of a Christ, and I believe in the teaching of a Christ
What do you mean?
and the teaching of
Speak
a
English. What are you
Christ-like,
saying?
the teaching of a Christ-like embodiment, right? So where I just take the teachings of the Bible as is, and for me, the embodiment of a Christ then requires me to define it, right?
What do you mean?
By
What do you
defining it
say?
now, by defining a Christ, that means now I'm like, okay, there must have existed a guy who did all
Yeah.
these beautiful, wonderful things, and I'm just like, no, wait. Now I have to go find this guy. Bad idea.
Why are you finding him?
No, bad idea. Because now you once you are entangled in the definition of whether
Sorry, I just want to close the curtain.
oh
The sun is killing me here.
sun is
Yeah.
getting to you there. So once you get into the definitions of whether or not there was a gentleman called Jesus who did everything that's done in the Bible, and then I go like, okay, cool. For those who haven't known that doctrination, to them there is a guy called Buddha who did all of the things he did. There is a guy called Muhammad who did all of the things he did. And henceforth, people get entrapped into the abyss of following this character and being in search for this character. And then I'm like, okay, when you leave purely by just the teachings, and you've accepted that the next person does not have to change, as you said, you've also somewhat accepted that the next person does not have to know Jesus. And you're like, no, you don't have to know Jesus. You've had your experience with Jesus, and you've gotten to a position where you're like, yeah, hell yeah, I know this figure, and I'm all for representing this figure of a Jesus.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, well, I don't think that's how Jesus wants to be sold. He wants to be sold as an ideal in my world, and you just sell the principles of love, and you leave it as that. But however, yeah, I hear you, and I understand your representation, and I fully comprehend your objectives in all of this, and all is necessary. All is necessary because
Yeah.
because
Sorry.
because if there are no evangelists that sell this doctrine, then there will continuously be chaos and mayhem. And even though religion has never brought upon peace on earth, its absence will also bring more chaos and mayhem. So yes, we need both elements. We need the element of someone teaching, and I stand on being the observer.
Okay.
I stand
No,
on being a mirror.
we're not all called for one role. That's the purpose of being part of a body, you know? I think what I would like to share here, and ever so carefully so, but I'm that little Jesus. I call myself a little Jesus. I'm that little Jesus who is saying, okay, come at me, whether you're Buddhist or you observe Allah or whoever, let us come here and have it out, because I believe that I have been anointed enough to showcase the signs and wonders, and that should set me apart from every other person who falls under religion. Maktiwa, okay, what do you mean? Ngishuguti, I've been anointed enough to perform a miracle on behalf of Jesus to prove that he is real. So to a point where I know there's gonna come a time like, okay, nazi dumbu, here's dead people. Against okonzu Allah, against into yakhe la, akavusele isidumbu lesi. Buddhist woza nawe, come, do your thing here. And I'll wait my turn like this, like a boss, and be like, yeah, when it's my turn, I'm just going to call on the name of Jesus, and I know Uguti 1 2 uzovuga, and that for me will be proof enough that Jesus is the one that's above all of them. I'm saying, Minuguti, that is where my ministry is going, because at some point people are going to be tired of hearing, oh, about this, about that. They want to see action now. I want to see the works. If Jesus was able to do this now, that's where I'm going. Like, Fred, I'm not even kidding, because that is the power that I've experienced, and that's the power that I know, to the point where I'm like, okay, your Satanist friend probably knows the Bible way better than I do, because that's what is mandated. A Muslim person, in order for them to convert other people to their religion, need to know the Bible. It's a must. So they probably know it better than me as well. They can tell me where certain things are. I'm like, yeah, no, I hear you, but do you have the power of the Holy Spirit? Because that's what sets me apart from you. We can speak the same thing, but when it comes down to the doings, that's what counts. If you remember when Moses was trying to save the children of Israel from the Egyptians, there was a whole show where Moses came and did a trick, and the Pharaoh would call the witches and the wizards of the area, and they would come and mimic exactly what Moses was doing. Then he goes back and he goes, yo, God, okay, it didn't work. I need another one. And he comes and he do the same thing. At the end of the day, God had to show himself and do the ultimate, most extra one, and turn everyone. So he turned Moses' stick into a snake, and every other witch and wizard did the same thing. They threw their staffs down, they turned into snakes. Then God was like, okay, enough now. God dang, now, let me show you who's God here. And Moses' snake devoured all the other snakes and turned it back into a staff. And it was just like, remember, I will allow you, because I'm not a God who imposes myself on people, but musugung testa, because I will show myself if you test me. So that's where I want to take this space, just an FYI, when a person who likes to come in. So the day you tune in, you're like, what is going on? Because I want to do what other people are doing. I want us to go to hospitals. Sithandazela abantu. Stop trying to be nice there in the building. Take this thing that you say you have and take it to the people. You know what I mean? Because then what's the point? What is the point of what we're doing? This religion is better. This one is better. I'm saying, no, I'm not part of a religion. I'm a lover of Jesus. I want to be like Jesus. What is different about it? You all sound similar, as you were saying. You all teach an ideology that's similar. Something needs to stand out. What is it that stands out? What makes you different? What makes me go, okay, that is impossible to have been human. No. I've seen this girl, I went to school with her. That was not, no. That's, I want us to get to that point where even if uisangoma, when God releases me to look at them in the face, we will zing together. Okay. What are we doing? Yebo, what are we doing? Because Ngizoprophesya by the grace of God. Nesango must prophesy. Namang prophesy and I prophesy. We're using two different spirits, but we're saying the same thing to the same person. But one of those spirits need to raise itself up against the other one and say, okay, Yahuza, now you can say what I'm saying. But when Frederick, who is this person? And Frederick's gonna go, I've never spoken to anyone about that person. Wait, what just happened? What just happened? So we need to get to that point. But that's not where I want to start. Because now it's just for me to put my feelers out and say, where is everyone when it comes to Jesus? Because I myself, have tried to leave Christianity so many times until God himself had to show himself, because I was hurt myself and I hated church myself, but I didn't hate God. I hated church. I didn't want to go to church anymore. I didn't want to be associated with the church anymore because of the people I met there. And I was like, Nishumaila this, but you are this person. How? Like, how you're not even in the same line like Nyashulana. How? How do you speak this love on a pulpit and then you are so mean every other day? Like, I don't understand. You're making me confused.
My thing is, for there to be a forward motion that opposes anything else, right? That forward motion is then calling for an opposition to oppose it.
Yes.
Then there will be a motion in the opposite direction. And I then question, when you say you'd like to challenge other people's ideals, I then question the ideal that you have to also accept all. When do you challenge and when do you accept? And when do you draw the line? And when do you because drawing the line also may mean taking a defeat. And when do you say, well, I'm defeated when it comes to this person? So you go on, you do what you can, you do a show of your divine strength, and the next person is still like, and you're like, well, I've just shown you everything. And I'm like, well, I am going back to do my Sangoma stuff, bro.
I think Fred, I love that. I love that you're coming up with that. And let me clarify what I said. I didn't say I want to challenge people. I said I'm willing to be part of such when it gets to that stage, because it will have to get to that stage at some point. If indeed we believe in Judgment Day, it will need to get to that stage. If God arises and he wants answers for everything you've ever done in your life, whether you are with him or not, then it means that everything else will have fallen flat and there will be one standing. Right. My love for the next person means that I want them to spend eternity with me. That is my love. It is then that love that's not going to Bible bash you, because I know that will repulse you, that will scare you away, and that'll make you go, yay, hectic man, sugala. So my love is spending my time with my God on my knees and talking about you. That is my love for you. You understand? So it's not my love to say, Uzo, fa, you're going to hell. You, when I sex before marriage, wa shwa. Did I say it right? Wa shwa. Yeah. That's not what the love of Christ is supposed to be. And admitting defeat is supposed to happen so that I am kept humble. Because I'll start thinking it's me. I'm powerful. I can do all these things. Gandhi, it's God's grace that allows me to access things. So I have someone who's mentoring me, who does insane things, who's way above me. And he has shared time and time again how God did not come through for him in certain spaces because like, yo, I can do this, I can prophesy, I can. And God has to just bring you back and go, it's me, God, not you. when you just happen to be here while I'm here too. You know what I mean? So for me, that is okay, because at the end of the day, I must trust God with what He's doing through me. It's not about what the outcome of that thing is. So whether that's Sangoma or whoever doesn't want to follow suit, it's fine. I have done what I need to do. We understand? Because then that would mean that Jesus was able to convert everybody in the time that He was alive, and He wasn't. But they heard. He is the most talked about person to this day. Oksalayo, they heard. And that's what it is. When as a radio person, I hear your voice, I like it. It doesn't mean I'm going to listen to your station, but I heard you. I know of your station. It's my decision if I want to come back. And that's one of the weirdest things. I'm like, God, why did you give us so much choice? But we are creatures of choice. So I can only do what I'm asked to do. What happens after that is no longer in my hands. And I, as a person, am okay with that. Like, I'm fine.
No, I get you. I get you on that. It goes back to bringing.
I'm gonna love and leave you soon, eh?
Yeah. I'm also seeing that we've gone hours now. We've gone way beyond hours.
It's going to give us content. That's what it's going to do. So it's more than one episode.
Sharp.
So you'll be famous many times. Yes. So, 100 subscribers. One of them is you.
It's 99. You go on 99.
99.
On 99, then one of them's me. I don't count because I'm gonna watch myself. You on 99. No, man, it's over 100 now. It's over 100 now. I think the last time I saw the channel, it was something, 120 or one something.
It was 125. Yeah.
There you go. See, it's over 100. Hey. So I make for 120. You get 124 when I'm watching.
Me, I watch myself, so don't worry.
All right.
You'll be a view and not anything more.
See,
you'll be an extra view.
Yes, but I appreciate our conversation and what it's really opened up in the thought process. I mean, to quote back to not bringing the church, but bringing yourself into the church. It goes to remind us that we need to then remember that in all that is done, it is still not all that is done by us.
Yes.
And in as much as we'd love to take ownership, we also need to be careful to not take ownership. Where we remember that Jesus throughout his doctrines taught about his Father and waited for people to go like, but you, sir, and he had to constantly remind himself that no guys, don't you sir me. Not me.
Yes.
Not me.
Yes, I like that.
And and you will constantly find people who, upon having received your help, would want to glorify you for that help. And if you stay away as long as you can from that glory, then you will forever be in Christ. You will forever be an embodiment of Christ, because you have to fight that glory by all means.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that's why I stay away from I hope God, you hear me.
He will know.
I hope I don't be called into ministry, because that's the thing that I see with ministries, is that you get to a point where you keep dabbling between that line of, is it me, is it God? And for as long as you stay true to it's God. I never know if I said what I said yesterday, but God knows. Then you will forever be in truth, and you will forever be divine in
Ima,
you
Fred,
conduct
Ima,
yourself.
Ima,
Yeah.
Ima. You said something wrong. It's not about everyone is called into ministry. The problem is we think the pulpit is the one in that building. What if yours is a mic?
I don't want to lie. I just say I wish I never get called into ministry, because even if it's the mic or
I'm being
whatever,
serious.
no, even if it's the mic
Lalela,
or whatever
okay.
it is, for
Sorry,
me,
sorry, umlomo.
yes,
What if we are cooler? What if we dali instrument? Do you understand? Our ministries are not the same, but it doesn't matter. Look at Uvusi Tembegwayo. Look at someone who's a great something. Look at Usain Bolt. Like, whatever they are doing is their ministry. And unfortunately, when you're doing something that others cannot, they're always like, oh, wow, you're so great. You're so awesome. We love you. We want to be like you. So in ministry is not what you're saying. I could cook well, and people are like, yo, I wonder if you could eat endless food. I promise you, whatever. Then that's my ministry.
that's why I say I do not wish to be great. Like, do not call me upon it.
That's what you should have said.
No,
Already when.
I could be talking right now, and through this conversation, the next person might be revealing or receiving some revelation in their life, and they might feel like
Exactly.
they might feel like I preached to them. They might feel like I preached to them.
That's why you're here, just by the way.
Yes. So I'm like constantly saying that as people, we need to always pull ourselves back by remembering not to embody ourselves. If you are an embodiment of Christ, you are not an embodiment of the self. So you forget what Entle does or can do or has ever done. And it just becomes what God is doing at that moment. And
Yes,
that's when it becomes tricky, because now it's like, okay, but when was it not Freddy's work though? Right? Some now and then you want to come back up, but that was Freddy's work. That was Freddy's work though. You saw that, I did it. That was good.
I did it myself.
they did this when I was done. So clearly I touched somebody. They did this when I was done.
Yeah.
And there is no wrong or right to this. It's a constant wrestle. Even the most noble of men suffer from the claws of power. I would say that. Even the most noble of men.
We're human. It is what it is, yeah.
Even the most noble of men, once they feel, taste, and see that power, they will be consumed by it. So, not to say one should not administer, but one should not take upon ministry.
No, it's not supposed to be something you take upon. Vele, that's wrong. Because then you're going with the wrong intention. And God is a judge of intention over the action.
With that, I believe that I could be a living ministry by just living and nothing more.
But who said that's wrong? Who said that's wrong? What I disagree with is when you say you don't want to be great, so you want to dim your light to accommodate whatever fear you have. And I'm like, that is a nonsense. The Bible says I don't need to put on a shade on my light. I got to be great. So I'm great.
What you missed there was like, what is the fear though? And for me, the fear of being consumed by believing that you are meant to go do this. And that's when the consumption happens. And that's what I constantly shy away from, if you may call it that. And it's not shying away. It's not shying away. But it's also being careful of the evil that comes with believing that you're good enough.
Yima. So are you telling me that as Fred, you don't believe you can do any one thing well? Is that why you do so many different things?
Not that I can't do any
Now
one
I'm
thing well.
talking to you.
No,
Huh?
not that I can't do any one thing well. I do all so
So
well.
Uti,
I do all so well. Yeah, I
Kazela
do.
Mina, what are you saying? Because I don't believe in that. Then what about the Olympians? What about Top Chef people? What about, I'll be silly and say idols people, or The Voice or whatever your taste is. Utini.
So I'm saying, when you start to believe that everything is done to, or everything is done by the self, which is Freddy, then you are denying that it is all done through Christ.
I hear that.
So that's where
I was trying to get to the other statement.
So that's why I say, look, I'll do everything and I'll do it to the best. I'll start running.
Okay.
I'll start running tomorrow. I'll probably be the best runner there is out there.
Okay.
So I'm not doubting that if this body that's Frederick was to go do something, it would do it to its max. It would do it to its best of its abilities. And if genetics allow, maybe it will be the best at that. I mean, I've done a lot of things, and none of them to me were a fail in how I've done them. But in how I'd speak of them, I need to be careful enough to acknowledge that they're not my doing.
Okay, I hear that.
So that's what I mean by I wish I am not called into ministry where I have to represent Frederick as a ministry of some sort or a minister, because that's the difference now when I say being called into ministry or living a ministry, which is what you give example of by saying, whoa, what if you are Usain Bolt? He lived that ministry of showing people the greatness that could be. But if you eliminate Bolt as the ministry and you say, but Bolt was achieving that through the power embodied upon him by Christ, to say you have to win.
Yeah.
So you've removed him from the picture. There's no longer no Bolt running there. It is just Christ at work. So that's why I say I wish never to be called into the ministry. I wish never to have people go like, Freddy, you my guy, you. If anything,
I want to burst your bubble.
You know where I'd leave it? Maybe that would give you a good conclusion.
Your pink bubble. Let me tell you something. I don't associate with people that aren't great. Number one, I must just tell you that very clearly. There are people I disassociate myself with because they drag me down. And it's not about what they're physically doing to my life, but their energy drags me down. And umuntu is always complaining or whatever, or they never want to do anything. And you're just like, oh, you make me tired. So when Frederick, you are great, that's a fact. I think the issue there is how Frederick takes what people are giving him, because we are made to complement. It's just how we are. Mushele intombazana, ngeke umshele ngoJesu, uzomshela ngomtshela ngobuhle bakhe or something that she does for you or whatever. It's how we are built. Nama ngikutshela, when I say to you, yo, I love this guy, you could take that and be like, okay, Enhle doesn't say that to lots of people, so and you leave it at that. But it's what you do with what you're receiving. You can tell people easily and be like, Yazidi, I don't want to get a big head, because that's what I tell people. I don't want to get a big head. Please stop calling me funny titles. You're oracle of God. You're a woman of God. You're a prophet. No. If Mdala nawe, call me CC if you want, auntie, but
the thing is, there's a fine line between what we are talking about here, and we are in accordance with one another. It's
this is me. I can talk you in circles, and you're like, wait, we've just been saying the same thing, right?
I'm saying we agree on one thing.
We do.
We just not agreeing on how to term it. My issue with greatness is greatness when you are preaching of Christ. needs to be eliminated at all times. So,
Mm.
in a God sense,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm 6 feet under
Mm.
and you want to address the greatness that was Freddy, then you eliminate Freddy's name. And you would have then described the greatness that is God. Does that make sense? If someone goes like, God was great through this guy because this guy taught me 1, 2, and 3, then I've removed the self from that picture and allowed the teaching to be an embodiment that lives and stays with that person. So that's what I imply by saying I wish not to be called upon ministry. If it happens one day that I'm standing in a, just know and I did not will it. If it happens one day that someone goes like, that guy healed me on the street, I don't know, I did not want it to happen. I probably was just like, yo brother, you okay? You want to stand up? You good? Oh man, dust them off and whatever
and go.
Yeah, and whatever help I had offered, I do not want to consume myself into I did that. Because then once I say I did that, I'm trying to remember it, and I feel like the person's indebted to me. And that's when ministers start to feel like they own members of the church. And as you said, Jesus was like, I do not want to own anyone, guys. Go to church.
I hear you.
Go to church.
I'm not disagreeing.
But always remember what I said.
What I'm saying is ministry is not behind the conventional pulpit. So when you're saying you don't want to be called into ministry, that's a type of a ministry, because you are going to be in a ministry as a human being, because you will eventually find yourself in what you're supposed to be doing, whether it's acting or singing or making clothes. That's your ministry. It's your thing. You choose where you give glory to. So I hear what you're saying. That's why I'm getting ngawe, but I think the point I'm trying to say is ministry is not, that's the mistake we make. You're in ministry. Mina, I'm in advertising, so I'm not. That's exactly what you are in. As soon as you communicate to people somehow, whether you fill up their stomachs or you put them in nice clothes or you give them nice hair, that's your ministry. Like, that's it. Own it. Be awesome. Where you give the glory is then up to you. Now. But umuntu nomuntu nento ayenzayo. Ngisho kwalo owashi imoto ayiwashi uthi I can only go to one car wash because of that guy. That's his ministry. Like, that's his thing, because no one seems to do it as good as him. That's look at Steve Jobs and how they laughed at him when he came out with a phone that had no buttons in an era when all the phones had buttons. He was a joke, but he was doing what he was called to do, and it blew our minds. And now every phone looks like what the iPhone was back then. Who would have thought? And he did his thing, and that was his ministry, and we can't take that away from him. But who we say he got the idea from, that's on him. I don't know. I never followed him that closely to hear what he was saying on that stage all the time, but So Standasam, you are great, Koshra. You are great, and you are great at what you do, and you will continue to be great. All I can do, Mina, is pray that you remain humble. Ungatitegi along the way in your 40s or your 50s. You just remain the person that you are. Because again,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It happens. But then you keep the right people around you that are going to say, excuse me, Booyah, come back here, back to planet Earth.
That's all we can wish for. That's all. I'm just like, my figure, the man, phone.
So WhatsApp, phone, Facebook, City Frederick Bapixela. Listen, let's wrap this up. Thank you.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Do you have any parting words? Anything that you'd like to share? And please remind us where we can find you if we want to get hold of you.
I was actually checking my phone even. If you want to get hold of me, find me on Facebook, Freddy Maestro. Go like that page, talk to that guy. He's a nice guy. If you wanna find me on Twitter, it's @Fred the Maestro. If you want to find me on Instagram, it's @Freddy Maestro. I now and then post some nice pictures there. Go follow. Go like that guy's pictures, and also follow the beautiful work that I do, producing Talk with Rams Live. Go watch it on Facebook, Instagram TV. Twitter's also got a
Talk
live
with
now.
Rams Live.
Yeah, Talk with Rams Live. Instagram's got
Okay.
Twitter now has a live. So Twitter Live to whatever live there is out there, just search
there.
Talk with Rams Live, and we are there.
Yeah.
7:30 on weekdays, man. That's my little production baby. I love it.
Thank you. In fact, I'm praying that some big commercial radio station takes you and gives you something permanent, because I love your mind. I love your mind, and I think we need more young people that speak sense, that are not interested in just celeb culture. Like, can someone just come through and just speak something that's going to give me some value? Yeah, actually, that was nice. I feel challenged.
Let's hope so. I think also maybe it hasn't happened because I'm also a student of life and still growing in my knowledge. And when it does happen, then people would get fruit out of it. So it will be fruitful when it does happen. And I receive your wish that it does happen, and it will.
Well, Freddy, thank you so much. We're gonna have so much content.